Hello, class 11. Hopefully, you've understood the first chapter well. And so, today we will start with the next chapter, that is biological classification. Firstly, what is biological classification? So this biological classification is a scientific procedure of arranging organisms in a hierarchical series of groups and subgroups on the basis of their similarities and dissimilarities. That means what? The organisms, they are being placed one by one sequentially in a specific arrangement, or we can say a scientific procedure is being followed, and they are being placed on the basis of both similarities as well as the dissimilarities. Now the question is, why this classification is necessary? Why do we need this classification? So four main points are there. Firstly, we should know the essential features of the groups, and for this the classification system is necessary. Secondly, the locality base, what is the habitat of that particular organism, we should also know that. Thirdly, the classification helps in knowing the relationship among different groups of organisms. So we should know the relation. And fourthly is that the evolutionary relationship, that means the origin from where it is happening, we can also know that. So these four are being present for why we need to classify the organisms. Next is that there are different types of classification systems which were being present, right? And they were being proposed by different scientists. So first type of classification system is the two-kingdom classification system. This two-kingdom classification system was proposed by the father of the taxonomy, who is called as the Carolus Linnaeus. He said that these living organisms are being classified into two kingdoms, and it was being proposed in 1758. He said the two kingdoms are namely Plantae and Animalia. Next kingdom classification system was proposed by Ernest Haeckel in the year 1866, and he said that this living organism should be classified into three kingdoms: Plantae, Protista and Animalia. So this Protista, it included the organisms which have the lack of capability of tissue differentiation. For example, the algae, fungi and protozoa. So these three were included in Protista. Next is the four kingdom classification system. This four kingdom classification system was created by Copeland in the year 1956. He said the Monera kingdom should be included along with this Plantae, Protista and Animalia. Right? Next is the five kingdom classification system. This classification system is a widely accepted classification system till now, and is given by R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969. He said that this five kingdom classification system, it is basis on the three characters. What are those? Complexity of the cells, complexity of the organisms and the nutrition. So what is that? Firstly, complexity of the cell. He said that the cell can be prokaryote as well as eukaryote. On the basis of the kingdom Monera, it is being formed, right? And all the prokaryotes are grouped into this. Next is complexity of organism. He said that the organisms, it can be both unicellular and multicellular, and on the basis of the kingdom Protista was being formed. All the unicellular eukaryotes are grouped into this kingdom. And nutrition is what? Organisms can also be either autotrophic or heterotrophic, and on the basis of this, the other three were being formed. What are those? Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So on the basis of this complexity of the cell, Monera was formed. Basis of the complexity of the organism, Protista was formed. And on the basis of nutrition, kingdom Plantae, Fungi and Animalia were being formed. So there were five classifications which were being done by Whittaker. What are those? Monera, Protista, Plantae, Animalia as well as Fungi. So one by one we will see the kingdom details. So firstly we will move on to kingdom Monera. The features of the Monera, it includes, firstly, they are the simplest or the most primitive unicellular prokaryotes. Why primitive? Because the nucleus in these organisms are not that well developed. Secondly, the cell wall contains peptidoglycan or murin and no cellulose is present, whereas the membrane bound cell organelles which are there is absent in these living organisms. There are different modes of nutrition. What are those? Saprophytic, parasitic, chemoautotrophic. photoautotrophic as well as symbiotic. So what are those? Firstly, saprophytic, it depends on the dead and decaying organisms. Parasitic, it depends on the host plants. Chemoautotrophic, it depends on the chemicals. Photoautotrophic, it depends on light. And symbiotic, it is a mutual benefited organisms which are present. Next is DNA present over here in these organisms. It is naked and it lies in the cytoplasm in the coiled form, which is called nucleoid. Why naked? Because I have already mentioned that the nucleus is not that well developed in this type of organisms. Next point, reproduction. How is it taking place? It is taking place by asexual methods, and as a result of that, the gametes are not present. So if we move on to the diagram, you will see that the main part, the plasmid DNA is being present over here, as it is not that well developed. It is present in naked condition. The flagellum is present, which is helping in the movement of the transport, and apart from that, some other cell organelles are present, such as ribosomes. The plasma membrane is also present, as well as the capsule layer, which is the protein layer, is also present. The cell wall is also present in this type of organisms. Now if we move on to the types of kingdom Monera, there are 4 main types. What are those? Bacteria, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria and Mycoplasma. So in the next slide, we will see about the details of these types of organisms. Firstly, bacteria. So these bacteria, they are found in various shapes. What are those? Coccus, which is spherical in shape, Bacillus, which is rod shaped, Vibrio, which is comma shaped, and Spirillum, which is spiral shaped. So here you can see the coccus, which is spherical in shape, a roundish or oval. Next one, Bacillus, they are the shape ones, which is rod shaped, and the Vibrio, which is comma shaped, and Spirillum, if you see, this is a spiral shape. Next point is, these bacteria are found almost everywhere and can be photosynthetic autotrophs, chemosynthetic autotrophs or heterotrophs. So as we have studied about the mode of nutrition in case of the kingdom Monera, so the photosynthetic autotrophs means it is taking the help of light for the process of nutrition. Chemosynthetic means it is taking the help of chemicals during the process of nutrition, and heterotrophs means it is depending on the other organisms. So next we'll move on to the next classification type. There is Archaebacteria. What is that? This Archaebacteria has different cell wall structure due to which it can live in most harsh habitats. So this has this organisms has the capability of tolerating extreme temperature conditions as well as the other habitat conditions. Firstly, halophiles. What are those? This is salt loving. For example, the Halobacterium and Halococcus. So next one is thermoacidophiles, that means the hot springs. What thermo refers to hot or heat temperature conditions. So the hot springs, for example, sulfobolus and thermoplasma. And the methanogen, what are those? The presence in marshy areas. For example, methanobacteria and methanolinia. Right? So the next classification of this kingdom Monera is Eubacteria. So these are also referred to as a true bacteria. Why? Because they have the rigid cell wall which is being present, and they also consist of the flagellum. Why? Because of the presence of motility. So those bacteria which are motile are having this flagellum. They are also known as the blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria. They are also given a specific name of cyanobacteria, and they are the photosynthetic autotrophs which is present. In case of the previous one, that is bacteria, you have seen that different modes of nutrition were being applied, but in this one, this type of Eubacteria, the photosynthetic autotrophic nutrition is taking place. That means it is taking place in presence of light. Next is, these are unicellular, colonial or filamentous algae. Unicellular means what? One cell. Colonial means they are present in group, and filamentous means they are present in thread-like patterns. The colonies which are present are surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. Why? For the protective structure. Next is, some of the eubacteria are present. For example, the nostoc and anabina, they have the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen by specialized cells. So the specialized cells are called, these are called as heterocysts. So the chemosynthetic autotrophs, they are they produce various organic substances such as nitrates and nitrites as well as ammonia, and they are also being released and are being used for the ATP production process. and they're also used for the recycling of the certain nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. And what about this heterotrophic bacteria? This heterotrophic bacteria, they are abundantly present and they are referred to as the decomposers. That means they are depending on the dead and decaying organisms, and they are helpful in making card from the mill. They are also helpful in the production of certain antibiotics which are being formed. Some of the pathogens are present like the diseases of cholera, typhoid and tetanus. So these pathogens are causing the diseases. The bacteria, it can reproduce how? It can reproduce mainly by the process of fission and also by the process of spore formation. You have read this part in class 10 also, that it reproduces by binary fission as well as the spore production also takes place. The sexual reproduction also takes place and the process is referred to as conjugation. The last type of the kingdom Monera is Mycoplasma. What is that? They are the organisms which completely lack a cell wall. They are the smallest living organisms which are being present over here, and they can survive even without the presence of oxygen. So they are the anaerobic ones, and this pathogenic in animals as well as plants. So these four are being the classification patterns of the types of Monera. So what are those? Bacteria, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria and Mycoplasma. Next we'll move on to the next kingdom, that is Protista. The first point to keep in mind is that these are the unicellular and eukaryotic organisms. Remember, in case of Monera, it was the prokaryotic organisms which were present, whereas in case of Protista, they are the eukaryotic organisms which are present. What are the next points? These are the primarily aquatic. They are the aquatic organisms which like the water places, and they are the link with the others dealing with plants, animals and fungi. So as because they are having some features of both, so they are forming the link. Next is the cell body contains a well-defined nucleus. Previously the nucleus was not well-defined in case of Monera. Here the nucleus is very much well-defined and the membrane-bound cell organelles are also present. And some of the members are motile, having cilia or flagella. How is the reproduction taking place? Reproduction is taking place either asexually or sexually, and it is involving the process of fusion and zygote formation in case of sexual reproduction. So next we'll move on to the types of Protista. So 5 types of Protista are being present. What are those? Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds as well as protozoan protist. So firstly we will see about chrysophytes. What are those? First point is it includes diatoms and golden algae. So these organisms are included in chrysophytes. Next is they are photosynthetic. That means they have the ability to photosynthesize or they can make their own food. Third is that what is the habitat? They are found where? In freshwater as well as in marine environments. So both the environments they are being present. Next is mostly planktonic, that is in passive swimmer, and cell walls which are present, they overlap or fit together like a soap box. So all of you have seen a petri dish, right? So this petri dish have 2 parts which are fitted one above the another. So similarly they are also being fitted over here, the cell wall. The cell wall contains silica and hence indestructible. That means what? The cell wall is consisting of silica, and as a result of that presence of silica, the cell wall are never destroyed. And whenever these organisms are accumulated into groups, they are referred to as the diatomaceous earth. So previously you have studied that diatoms are included in this. So whenever these organisms are included, they are referred to as diatomaceous earth. They are used where? In polishing, filtration of oils as well as syrups. And these diatoms, they are referred to as what? They are referred to as the chief producers in the oceans. So we know that plants are the producers. So these diatoms which are present in the aquatic conditions in the sea or the oceans, so these are referred to as the producers of this. Next classification type is dinoflagellates. So first is that the habitat, they are present in marine conditions and they are the photosynthetic ones. So here they are present in marine conditions and they have the capability of making food. Next is cell wall has stiff cellulose plates. So here the cell wall was consisting of, in chrysophytes is consisting of silica. In dinoflagellates it was consisting of cellulose plates. It appears yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending on the pigment. So whatever the pigment is, it depends on that and the color is being formed on the basis of that. Next is it is consisting of two flagella, one longitudinal, another one is transverse in a furrow between the wall plates. So two types of flagella are present, one is longitudinal, another one is transverse, and these two flagella are helping in the process of movement of this dinoflagellates. Next is red dinoflagellates. For example, Gonia iulex, it forms the red tide. So wherever this red dinoflagellates are present, so the red tides are being formed. So it is pattern of red color. Next type is euglenoids. So first is what? They are the unicellular and flagellated organisms, right? So they are unicellular means one celled, and flagellated again means what? They can move. Secondly, the body is covered by thin and flexible pellicle. So thin and flexible pellicle is present, which is helping in the process of these organisms. It lacks cellulosic cell wall, so the cellulose is absent over here. Previously we have seen silica is present in this chrysophytes. Here the cellulose was present, whereas in euglenoids the cellulose is absent. Euglenoids also have two flagella like that of the dinoflagellates, one long and one short, and they can perform a creeping movement, and by what? That expansion contraction, what happens? The body of these organisms can move, and this specific creeping movement is referred to as metabolic. What is the nutritional pattern? Nutrition pattern is holophytic, saprophobic as well as holozoic, right? So we can say that as because so many types of nutritional patterns are taking place, it is referred to as mixotropic nutrition. For example, euglena and perineuma. Next classification is slime molds. So what are the slime molds? These slime molds are the acellular as well as cellular types. So both types are included. And where are they found? They are found in the moist conditions as well as terrestrial places, and they are rich in decaying organic food. So this very important that they are rich in decaying organic food. So this body of slime molds, what are they covered with? They are covered with mucilage. From the name also you can understand that this slimy in nature. So it is obviously having a mucilage gelatin pattern. And they do not have the chlorophyll pigment, and hence they cannot synthesize their own food. They show what? They show phagotropic or saprotrophic nutrition, and the reproduction patterns, it includes both sexual as well as asexual modes. The next classification type is protozoan protist. So these are the microscopic and the advanced among the protist organisms. They are the small unicellular ones, and they are the colorless organisms which is having different types of shapes. The locomotion which is being done in these organisms is with the help of finger-like pseudopodia as well as flagella or hairy cilia. So pseudopodia, as you all know, that in case of amoeba it is very much helpful in those organisms. Next is the protozoans. They are heterotrophs and they live as predators or parasites, and these protozoans, they cannot prepare their own food and they are depending on the other organisms for their food, may it be a host organism or any other organism. The respiration which occurs, it occurs through the surface of their body, and reproduction, it occurs by binary fission, multiple fission or by budding. Binary fission means the cell divides into two parts. Multiple fission means the parent cell divides into many parts forming the daughter organisms, and budding refers to a small bud which is detached from the parent organism. It also takes place by sexual reproduction and by syngamy or by conjugation. So hopefully this 5 types of classification of protist organisms are being clear: chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoan protist. So in this lesson what we have learned? We have learned about the different classification patterns. What are those? 2 kingdom classification by Linnaeus, 3 kingdom classification by Ernest Haeckel, 4 kingdom classification by Copeland, and the widely accepted 5 kingdom classification by Whittaker. He said that 5 kingdoms are namely Monera, Protista, Plantae, Animalia and Fungi. We have read 2 kingdoms in this lesson, Kingdom Monera and Kingdom Protista. Kingdom Monera is having some primitive functions which is lacking the nucleus, and this is having 4 types. What are those? Bacteria, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria and Mycoplasma, having different specific functions of organisms. And the Kingdom Protista, it is the unicellular and eukaryotic organisms which is having a well-defined nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. The types of Protista, 5 types of present: chrysophiles, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoan protists. So hopefully children, this lesson is clear to everybody. We will continue with the next type of kingdoms in the 5 kingdom classification system in the next class. Thank you so much.